Do this, my son, and deliver yourself, for you have come into the hand of your friend. Go and humble yourself. Plead with your friend. Give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. What's he asking here? Go and try to talk to the friend and see if you can get out of the commitment, rather than overtax yourself and do something that you really don't want to do. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the hand of the fowler. This is a gazelle. Gazelles are an antelope-type animal of the antelope family. And they run usually at a sustained speed of about 30 miles an hour. But they can reach, for short bursts, 60 miles an hour. That's the gazelle. In the King James Bible, it calls it a roe. Same thing, a deer type, an antelope, this type of animal. So what's the inference here? Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter. How fast does God want you to get away from this bad type of relationship? Very quickly. And like a bird from the hand of the fowler. If you ever seen a falcon take off, and the falconer sticks a hand out like this and the bird goes, quickly, they're off. Run away. So the verse is a warning against going into debt and or being indebted to someone. Now let's look at verse 6. Go to the ant, you sluggard. I was going to put a picture of an ant up here, but I figure everybody knows what they look like. If you've ever visited Florida, you might know what fire ants look like. Consider the ways and be wise. Now what would the ways of the ant be? What is an ant noted for? Work. You ever seen ants stop? They haul stuff that's 15 times their weight, and I actually think that's hundreds, if you were to look it up, that they can hold hundreds. And they just keep going. And they keep going. And they keep going. They're not a sluggard. Sluggard's a lazy person. Now here's the unique thing about ants, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler. Nobody to tell the ant what to do. The queen bee doesn't tell the ant what to do. Queen bee wouldn't. Queen ant. Because the queen ant is just an egg-producing machine. Ba-boom, 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 that's it. There's no command staff there. They just do it, they do it, they do it, they work together, and they get it done. Provides her supplies in the summer, gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. It comparing the previous verses, basically saying, get up and work. And if you go back to look at the first verses, it was about taking out loans and owing people things. So they're saying not to borrow. I'll qualify. The Bible's not saying don't borrow. The Bible's cautioning you on how to do it. It's not saying absolutely don't, because all of us would be in violation probably by that point. But it's giving you some caution, is don't get to the point where you can't keep your commitment, is ultimately what this verse, the first part of this, is saying. And don't commit to something you can't do. And work for what you get. That's why they compare to the ant. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? A little slumber. A little folding of the hands to sleep. Starting to warn against laziness here. So shall your poverty come to you like a prowler, and you need like an armed man. A worthless person, a wicked man, walks with a perverse mouth. Poverty will sneak up on you like a prowler. How does a prowler get to where they're going? Under darkness, covertly, sneak around, don't want to be seen, and they surprise you, do they not? Armed robber, surprise you? You don't usually have somebody walk in with, a shotgun and just say, okay, everyone, I'm going to rob you now. You got 5 minutes. It's a surprise. It's like, chick-ching, stop, give me what you got. It's by surprise. That's the way they say poverty will sneak up on you if you don't want to work. A worthless person, a wicked man, walks with a perverse mouth. See how they compare? In comparison, in the time when this was written, in comparison today, in today's life, I don't see a whole lot of difference. It's one thing I hear a lot of is, well, you know, the Bible was written 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and it was just different back then. Well, I'm not looking at anything in these first 12 verses that are basically any different than it is today, to be perfectly honest with you. There may be more ways you can get indebted today. It was really not a whole lot back then. I mean, they may have had to buy property, they may have had to buy a donkey, or they may have had to buy food or something. They may have taken loans out for something like that. What do we take loans out for? 60-inch TV, sound system, the, I don't know, what's the video game thing? Yeah, what's it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? This, what are we up to now? Xbox 3? Where's Steven? He's got some PlayStation 4. All right, you know I play those games a lot, right? You know, PlayStation 1's not good. We need 4, but we're taking money out for them. You know, motorcycles, boats, all the stuff that we take and do we overextend ourselves sometimes? That's what we're being warned about doing, because all of a sudden it'll sneak up on us and it's like, oh my word, how did I get here? Worthless person, wicked man, walks with a perverse mouth. He winks his eyes, he shuffles his feet, he points with his fingers. Perversity is in his heart. He devises evil continually. He sows discord. Still talking about how that evil can sneak up on you. Therefore his calamity shall come suddenly. Suddenly he shall be broken without remedy. So we're still talking about that problem. How evil will sneak up if you're not careful. Then all of a sudden now in verse 16, what do we get into? We get into some warnings. These 6 things the Lord hates. The God of love hates something. And then it says, yes, 7 are an abomination. Now there's the word, there's hate. And then there's abomination. They have different meanings. If I just say the 2 words to you, does one mean more than the other? Abomination is even a more concentrated hate. What's the first thing he hates? A proud look. What have we all heard? Pride cometh before a fall. This is ego. This is they couldn't do this without me. I'm really good. Look what I did. Aren't I great? Ego. A lying tongue. Now, does this mean that you're only caught lying if you do it verbally? Can I lie non-verbally? We shake heads like this, go like that, yeah? Yeah. I go back to my income taxes. If I take that $250 deduction they give you for charitable contribution to Goodwill without needing a receipt, and I never gave them anything, am I lying? I'm lying to the government. I'll grant you, they probably lie to us too. So, it's not give, forgive. But see, lying isn't just with the tongue. We can do it. Who texts? Who Twitters? Who Facebooks? Who does all, you don't need a tongue to do this, and you can sell just as much. You can be just as nasty doing this as you can with this. And even more so, because when you're with the tongue, you're usually looking somebody in the eye and you're talking to them. You can do this from afar. You don't have to have that much intestinal fortitude to do this. So we can lie many ways. I used to caution my children, you out and out lie to me is not good, but you can lie by omission. If you know that I'm looking for a particular piece of information and you don't give it to me because you know I won't like what you tell me, that's a lie of omission. Just as bad. A lying tongue, number 2 on the list. Hands that shed innocent blood. Pretty much got a group in the Middle East that fits that group. A heart that devises wicked plans. Feet that are swift in running to evil. A heart that devises wicked plans. That's the planner. That's the conniver. That's the person that plans the evil. That's the person that may try to entice the unknowing into doing something wrong. An abomination to God. Feet that are swift in running to evil. This could be the person could this be the person that just doesn't know, but goes for you ever see somebody, every new thing that came down the pike, they were good for it. They had to run. They were behind it. We have to be careful because if it's the wrong thing, the Bible tells us it's an abomination. A false witness who speaks lies. Now, if we go back here, we have a lying tongue. We come up here, a false witness who speaks lies. This is twice Bible mentions lying in the same couple of verses that are abomination to God. What does God think of a liar? Not much. Not much at all. And then in one who sows discord amongst the brethren. The gossip. Yeah? Maybe. One who sows discord among the brethren. Aha, look at verse 20. We repeat again, my son, keep your father's command and do not forsake the law of your mother. Here's a repetition, but we got to thank Solomon for not putting it at the very beginning like he did the other 5 books. We're here in the middle. Keep your father's command, do not forsake the law of your mother. Now, referring to the father's command, again, like we saw in the previous books, bind them continually upon your heart, tie them around your neck. Remember what we said they used to do? They would tie verses around their neck and wear them as an ornament or a piece of jewelry with a piece of parchment rolled up, and that was to protect them. They felt it protected them. So that was tie them around your neck. When you roam, they will lead you. So now we go back. We're keeping the commands. We're keeping the instruction of our mother. Why? Because when we go away, we're still going to know them. They're going to lead us. They're going to keep us. When you sleep, they will keep you. When you awake, they will speak with you. So again, keeping those commands and instructions. When we go away, they're still there. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is a light. Reproofs of instruction are the way of life. And now we get back to that analogy of evil again, and it goes back to the woman. To keep you from an evil woman, from the flattering tongue of a seductress. Do not lust after her in your heart. Do not let her allure with your eyelids. For by means of a harlot, a man is reduced to a crust of bread, and an adulteress will prey on his precious life. Remember, please don't look at this through a microscope saying, okay, we're only talking about sexual sin. Look at this as evil globally, and they're just using that woman just as an analogy. This is evil. Now, this is going to get a little more specific to the physical sin, but look at it evil. Anything evil they can allure like this. An adulteress will prey on his precious life. Can a man take fire to his bosom and his clothes not be burned? I can tell you from experience, no. Can one walk on hot coals and his feet not be seared? No. What they're doing here, again, is that analogy with that evil. If you get too close to it, if you pull it too close, you're going to get burned. Something's going to go wrong. So he who goes into his neighbor's wife, whoever touches her shall not be innocent. People do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he is starving. Verse 29, what's God telling us? Don't take something that doesn't belong to you. God gives us what we need. Don't take something that doesn't belong to you. I find it interesting on verse 30. It says, people do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he is starving. What's one of the 10 commandments? Thou shalt not steal. Now, what's this saying? People do not despise the thief. It doesn't say God doesn't despise the thief. But doesn't this get around with he steals to satisfy himself when he's starving? We talk about and we hear about situational ethics. It's all right if I agree with it. It's not all right if I don't agree with it. Or if it benefits me, it's okay to do. So if I'm hungry, it's all right for me to steal to eat, and that's okay. Is it okay to steal? The Bible says, thou shalt not steal. But again, this says people do not. So we as people can look at this and say, there are certain times it's okay to steal. There are certain times it's not okay to steal. God says in the Bible, don't. But we get in as humans, we get into these situational areas where it's all right, the $250 deduction for the clothes at Goodwill. How are they ever going to know if I don't have to produce a receipt? IRS is never going to know you didn't put $250 worth of clothes in that box. Ever. There is absolutely no way on God's green earth that they will find out. But you know. And God knows. People rationalize, we collectively rationalize our actions, even when God sometimes tells us not to do it. So people do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he's starving. But look what happens when he gets caught. Yet when he is found, he must restore sevenfold. He may have to give up all the substance to his house. So there's a penalty for stealing, even if people say it's okay because you're starving. Next verse 31, there's a penalty. But people say it's all right. God said it isn't, because here's a penalty. Yet when he is found, he must restore sevenfold. He must give up to all the substance of his house. Whoever commits adultery with a woman lacks understanding. He who does so destroys his own soul. Wounds and dishonor he will get, and his reproach will not be wiped away. For the jealousy is a husband's fury. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will accept no recompense, nor will he be appeased. Through you give many gifts. Warnings in this book of the Bible for overextending yourself, committing to something that you cannot do or you cannot keep. Then we get into the abominations that God sees. The lying tongue, which is mentioned twice. And we talk about getting too close to evil again in the recompense. And the situation where people think something's all right, but God is saying no. It's chapter 7. Chapter 6. Chapter 7. All right, here we go, starting out again. We knew Solomon couldn't go for more than 2 books without starting out the same way. My son, keep my words, treasure my commands within you. Now here's a slightly different twist on what he's saying. Keep my commands and what? Live. You listen to the instruction I give, you live. And my law is the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers, write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister. Now, we haven't talked about wisdom yet tonight, but in all the other books we talked about what was the thing that we needed to grasp, the thing that the Bible told us to go and get. Wisdom and understanding. And how do we do that? Through the Word of God. We get wisdom from God. So now we're reinforcing that, get wisdom. And how close do they want wisdom to be to you? Not an acquaintance. They want wisdom to be a relative to you. They want you to have that be so close to that understanding that it's like a relative to you. Call understanding your nearest kin. That they may keep you from the immoral woman, from the seductress who flatters with her words. For at the window of my house I look through lattice. Y'all know what lattice is? It's kind of that fence type stuff that it's a bunch of square. We get in the back here. They use it as an awning for weddings. But what happens if you look through lattice? I'm not looking through the whole window. I don't have the benefit of every square inch of glass because I have all this stuff in front of me. I'm looking through little squares, not seeing everything clearly. Uh-oh. Where am I? There we go. Too many buttons. I don't have a license for this thing. And they saw among the simple. I perceived among the youths a young man devoid of understanding, passing along the street near her corner. And he took the path to her house. Here we are looking again at the evil woman, the seductress, as evil. Sin, something we shouldn't be messing with, whatever it is. Whatever you want to call it. That's what we're looking at here. And then it gets in the young man devoid of understanding. What did he do? Passing along the street near her corner. Remember we talked about you're towing up to that line? And the analogy was, I'm not touching you. Parents ever say, don't touch your brother or sister, and you get up and they're like this far away. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching. That's what we do in a lot of situations. We know we shouldn't be there, but we're right up to that line. We know we shouldn't cross it, but we're kissing it. That's what they're saying, the young man devoid of understanding, passing along the street near her corner where the evil woman lives. He took the path to her house. Now he's getting even closer. In the twilight in the evening and in the black of night. Oh, there's an interesting analogy. Why would that be a problem, sneaking up to the house in the twilight in the evening or the black of night? What can't you do? Can't be seen. If I'm sneaking around in the dark, I can't be seen. Another thing where we might think, okay, we're okay doing this, we're getting close, but God still sees it. And then the woman met him. Now, we got close, and we've now just crossed that line. Now we're involved in the sin that we shouldn't be in, the evil we shouldn't be in, the circumstance that we shouldn't be in, the situation that we shouldn't be in, because we got really close, and now we're there. With the attire of a harlot and a crafty heart. What's this saying? Saying that evil is a lot of times arrayed in pleasantry, so we think it's going to be all right. Doesn't scare us. She was loud and rebellious. Her feet would not stay at home, and at times she was outside, at times she was in the open square. That sin, that evil is going to be everywhere. Sometimes it's over here where we can hide with it. Sometimes it's out here in the open. Lurking at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him. He got it. With the impudent face, she said to him, I have peace offerings with me. Today I have paid my vows. You ever seen anything bad that looks good? Somebody's going to say chocolate cake. I mean, something that looks like it's really attractive, really good. And it's like putting a new paint job on a rusty old car. Looks really nice, but it's not what you need. It's all painted up. So I came out to meet you, diligently to seek your face. I found you. I've spread my bed with tapestry. colored coverings of Egyptian linen, which at the time this was written was very fine and expensive. And for these next few verses, we're going to get into the enticements of that evil, that situation we shouldn't be in, that sin we shouldn't be in. I've perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until morning. Let us delight ourselves with love. More enticements. For my husband is not home. So if we look at the woman as being evil, please, this is an analogy. I'm not saying that literally. The woman is representing evil, and here's where evil knows evil is doing something wrong. My husband is not home. I know it's wrong. I know doing what I'm doing with you, enticing you to do this is wrong. But that's all right, because he's gone on a long journey, taking a boatload of money with him, and he's not coming back for, Bible says, the appointed day. We're not going to get caught. It's all right. It's not a problem. Might be bad, but it's okay. We're not going to get caught. That's what that's telling me. We're not going to get caught. And it's interesting here because throughout this analogy, in this whole this chapter of the Bible, we think in the back of our mind, prostitute is the evil woman, that evil. We're thinking prostitute, but what's this tell us in verse 19? She wasn't. Married woman. So the evil, that we have that image of evil being the prostitute, it wasn't. It was something that we didn't expect. Married woman. So sometimes that disguise, we have that concept of what's right, wrong, and evil. Sometimes it can look really good, and it's something we absolutely don't expect is going to be. The husband is not home. He's gone on a journey. He's gone away. We're not going to get caught because he's a boatload of money, and he's taking it with him, and I know what day he's coming back, and it's not today. I'm certainly paraphrasing. My kids used to think that I have spies everywhere. Because I'd say, so why were you in such and such a place? How did you know? You know, because I do. My daughter thinks I actually have them in Virginia. She went down there to school. A police officer in Londonderry retired and went down and moved into the next town. I'm sitting there going, baby, I got my eyes and ears down here. But we think a lot of times we're not going to get caught. Teens, you think you're not going to get caught. I will guarantee it will come back to haunt you. So you got it. With her enticing speech, she caused him to yield. Flattering lips, she seduced him immediately. He went in after her as an ox goes to the slaughter or a fool goes to the correction of the stocks. Interesting analogy here, is it not? He falls for the woman, falls for the evil, yields to the sin, for the circumstance, whatever it is. And what's the analogy that Solomon, the wisest man in the world that ever was and ever will be, gives us? As an ox goes to the slaughter, what happens to the ox when they go to the slaughter? He's dead. Or what's the next? Fool to the correction of the stocks. What's that mean? That's criminal. You're locked up. That's the end for the foolish man who's enticed into doing what he shouldn't. He or she. One translation that I was looking at and one commentary took this, the fool to the correction of the stocks, says, as a dog enticed by the food to the chain that will bind him. You ever try to catch a dog, and what do? You hang out some meat over here, you grab, the dog comes up, the feed, snap the chain on so they can't run loose anymore. Do it to kids too. The dog enticed by the food to the chain, it will bind them. That's in one of the other translations. Means the same thing. You're going to get caught, and you're going to get bound, and you're not going to be able to get away. till an arrow struck his liver. As the bird hastens to the snare, he did not know it would cost his life. I found this interesting, using till an arrow struck his liver. I looked in 3 translations. It's the same word. King James, New King James, and the New American Standard all use that sentence. Now you would think in this application, what organ would they talk about? The heart. And they use liver. And I don't know why. And I might try to research that to find out, because it just struck me as odd, given the way this whole thing was set up. But now, what happens if an arrow strikes you in the heart? What's going to happen? You're going to die. If an arrow strikes you in the liver, what's going to happen? You're going to die. They both bleed a lot when they get penetrated. As a bird hastens to the snare, what's a snare do to a bird? Kills it. He did not know it would cost his life. Now therefore listen to me, my children. Pay attention to the words of my mouth. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Be careful for that evil that may look like something that it's not. Watch out for it. What's this whole, so far, seven books of Proverbs been telling us? Watch out. Listen to the advice of the father, the instructions of the mother. Who's that? It's not necessarily the physical father, the biological father. It's Father God through the Bible. It's wise counsel. Solomon's telling you to seek wise counsel throughout here, to listen and ask people who know what they're looking at. Do not stray into her paths, for she has cast down many wounded, and all who were slain by her were strong men. As tough as we think we are, we can be brought down. As bright as we think we are, as smart as we think we are, as holy as we think we are, we can be brought down. Her house is the way to hell, descending in the chambers of death. So says the wisest man that ever was, and the wisest man that ever will be. Solomon, chapters 6 and 7 of Proverbs. Just remind everybody for Sunday, downstairs is off limits. Please, we'll have ushers, indoors, whatever you want to call it, over there that's soggy and wet. In prayer that just things will work out. And so we've got a couple people in the hospital. Pray for them. Won't get into who it is. Something else. Pray for the weather. I'm getting sick of it. So let's stand and we'll be dismissed. Pastor, you want to close us?
Lord, thank you for